Hey Elevation, this is Steve Copeland, one of the members of the pastoral team here. And this is sort of a brand new space, a midweek reflection that will be centering on Jesus, just a short reflection, an invitation to consider what it means to follow after Jesus more and more. Our hope is to carry on the conversation from Sunday and to connect it to the person and character of God as revealed in Jesus. So today, we're going to be looking at Jesus as someone worth following. Reading from Mark 1:16-20. As he passed alongside the Sea of Galilee, he saw Simon and Andrew, Simon's brother, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishermen. "Follow me," Jesus told them, "and I will make you fish for people." Immediately they left their nets and followed him. Going on a little farther, he saw James, the son of Zebedee, and his brother John in a boat, putting their nets in order. Immediately he called them, and they left their father Zebedee in the boat with the hired men and followed him. So this is a story about calling. It's a story about Jesus being someone worth following after. Jesus calls and they choose to follow. And before any of the miracles or signs, these first disciples saw something in Jesus that they said, this person is worth following. They laid down their nets, their livelihoods, their identity, and they sought to follow after Jesus. And I think for you and I, as people who have chosen to follow after Jesus, if that's you, it's probably because you see in Jesus someone worth following. You see not just the teaching, not just the wonders and the miracles, not just the character, but the full expression of God that invites you, beckons you to follow after him, to model your life around him. This is really what discipleship is all about. It's being called to follow. And I think it's deeply personal. We can talk about calling as something that maybe people in ministry experience, a call to ministry. And there is that. But I think we also, as people, are called to follow after Jesus. Something deeply personal here. I like to think that he calls us by name to follow him. When we look at the story of Lazarus, one of Jesus' close friends in John, in the Gospel of John, Lazarus has died, and Jesus weeps, and then he comes to the place where he's buried, and Jesus calls out to Lazarus, "Lazarus, get up, come out, wake up, arise." He calls him by name. I think Easter is a season of being called to awaken, that Jesus beckons us in this side of the cross to arise, to awaken. Mary, we were just looking at the story of Mary and how she sees Jesus as the gardener. But it's the moment of recognition for her is when Jesus turns to her and calls her by name. When he speaks her name, that's when the light bulb goes off and she says, "Oh, I know this person." And so as we embark on this journey together as a community gathered around the name of Jesus, it is Jesus that invites us to follow him. He's someone worth following. He's someone worth trusting. Rachel Held Evans, the late Rachel Held Evans, in a video talking about baptism, mentioned or communicated the idea that baptism really is a naming. In baptism, we are named beloved. All the other competing voices are drowned out as the one worth following calls us by name and calls us beloved. It's a restoration of the dignity and the image of God that is bestowed upon us. Building on this, in Abba's Child, Brennan Manning writes, "In solitary silence we listen with great attentiveness to the voice that calls us the beloved. God speaks to the deepest reaches of our souls, into our self-hatred and shame, our narcissism, and takes us through the night into the daylight of his truth." And then reading from Isaiah 43 and 54, he continues, "Do not be afraid, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by your name. You are mine. You are precious in my eyes because you are honored, and I love you. The mountains may depart, the hills may be shaken, but my love for you will never leave you, and my covenant of peace with you will never be shaken. He continues, he says, let us pause here. It is God who has called us by name. God has called us beloved. And it is the same God who calls us forth to follow him.